Ruh'ta's ears folded back as his pack marched onto the training grounds. The scorching sun beat down on the barren landscape. This planet, called Earth by the humans, was hotter and drier than any place Ruh'ta had been. For their drill, Sergeant barked orders, his voice booming across the field. "Attention! Single file line, maggots!" The recruits scrambled to obey, their clawed paws kicking up dust. Ruh'ta fell into line beside the other Culvans. They were the only non-humans in this unit. But the drill sergeant paced before them, his piercing gaze sweeping over the recruits. "Welcome to basic training, ladies and gentle aliens. I'm Sergeant Blackwell, and I'll be your worst nightmare for the next 8 weeks." He stopped in front of a nervous-looking Culvan. "What's your name, maggot?" "Ruh'ta, sir," yipped. "Ruh'ta, Blackwell leaned in close. "Looks like we got ourselves a pup with some bark." Laughter rippled through the humans. Ruh'ta's ears pressed flat against his head. "Let me make something clear," Blackwell boomed. "I don't care what planet you're from or how many legs you have. You're all equally worthless to me. If you want to be Alliance Marines, you'll have to prove you're more than a bunch of kibble-eating, jelly-spined pups." He jabbed a finger at Ruh'ta's chest plate. "You Culvans think you're top dog here, but I've seen your kind roll over under pressure. Prove me wrong if you can, mutt." Ruh'ta met the sergeant's glare, refusing to bare his teeth. "Yes, sir." "That's the right attitude," Blackwell said. "Now give me 50 push-ups, all of you." The recruits dropped down. Ruh'ta's 4 limbs strained under the heavier gravity. But he pushed through, jaws gritted. He would not show weakness on the first day. The brutal physical training wore on. Ruh'ta's entire body ached from exertion, but the sergeant's shouts kept him moving through the pain. At mess, Ruh'ta sat with the other Culvans. Their armor was dented and scuffed from the day's drills. "This gravity is killing me," muttered Dracus as he gingerly flexed a leg. "I don't know if I can take 7 more weeks." Ruh'ta chewed his ration pellet, ears tilted thoughtfully. "We have to try. Proving ourselves here is the only way we'll be accepted." The others yipped agreement. They were the first Culvans to attempt Alliance basic training. Failure would reflect poorly on the whole pack. Inspection came all too soon the next morning. Ruh'ta stood at attention by his bunk, trying not to fidget as Blackwell scrutinized every inch. Or jabbed a metal side panel. "What's this?" Paint scratched. "Disgraceful." Ruh'ta whimpered. "Apologies, sir. It must have happened during yesterday's Excuses just make you weaker," Blackwell cut him off. "Drop and give me 20. The drill sergeant found faults with everyone. By the end of inspection, they had all done several rounds of push-ups. Ruh'ta's limbs burned with exhaustion. The week's exercises took them deep into harsh terrain. Ruh'ta stared around at the broken landscape. How did humans thrive in such a place? 2 clicks to the objective, Blackwell shouted, "Double time, meatbags, move it like your lives depend on it, 'cause they do." Ruh'ta glanced at Dracus as they leapt across the hard-baked ground. He looked miserable, armor caked with dust. Ruh'ta yipped encouragingly, "We can make it." Dracus's ears perked up, and he picked up the pace. They reached the objective together. All the Culvans had finished. At night, Ruh'ta's body throbbed, but there was an undeniable sense of achievement. He was getting stronger. Let the weeks ground on. Ruh'ta gradually tuned out the insults. Only the orders mattered. He pushed himself to the brink during endless drills. Other recruits dropped out, unable to take the pressure, but Ruh'ta endured. On the last day, Ruh'ta stood tall as Sergeant Blackwell inspected them. He paused, eyeing Raid up and down. "Well, now, first," he said gruffly, "no flaws. Guess you really can teach an old dog new tricks." Ruh'ta bit back a snarl. "Was that praise?" "10 hut," Blackwell barked suddenly. Ruh'ta snapped to attention with the others. The sergeant paced before them. "You've been a worthless band of maggots, but somehow you survived. That means you've earned the right to call yourselves Marines." He saluted them. "Welcome to the Alliance, Marines." His pride surged through Ruh'ta's chest. He returned the salute, armor gleaming. He had earned this. After the ceremony, Ruh'ta stood proudly with his fellow Marines. A band played the Alliance anthem as they marched past dignitaries. Ruh'ta spotted the Culvan ambassador, tail wagging. Then afterwards, families mingled with the graduates. An older Culvan approached Ruh'ta, gripping his shoulders warmly. "Ruh'ta, we're so proud of you." Ruh'ta dipped his head respectfully. "Thank you, Father. I couldn't have done it without your support." Sergeant Blackwell stepped up. "So you're his sire, eh? You've got a good pup here." Ruh'ta introduced them. To his surprise, the sergeant smiled as he shook his father's paw. "Your boy's an impressive soldier," Blackwell said. "First of his kind to pass training in my 30 years. You should be proud." Ruh'ta's father's tail went wild. That means everything coming from you, sir. Thank you for pushing Ruh'ta to his limits. Blackwell laughed. Just doing my job. Ruh'ta never gave up when it got tough. That's the makings of a real Marine.